we did a whole Barbenheimer live stream. If you missed it, it is pinned to the top of our YouTube channel. So many great folks turned out. It was a lot of fun. So let us know if you did the Barbenheimering. A lot of folks did.
Yeah.
We'll get to that with box office in a minute. We've got all kinds of breaking news, and it's unfortunately sad breaking news. I hate to come back to you after weeks away with no news and have bad news, but we've got a bunch of deaths to talk about, starting with Paul Reubens.
Yes.
Yes. Did you love Pee-wee's Big Adventure like I did? I loved it.
Totally. Yes.
Totally.
I mean, when I was in college, Saturday morning cartoons were mostly a thing of the past, but we made sure the VCR was set every week for Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah.
That was must-see TV for us at that point. So yeah, he was a brilliant comedian, and came out of the Groundlings here in LA. And well, yes, Pee-wee is, I think, the cornerstone of his career. I mean, like, just turned in so many cool performances in such a variety of films, like the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Batman Returns, Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams, I want to say. I remember him having a scene-stealing role in that. Just a true genius.
Very sad. He was 70, and what's also very sad about his death is that he'd been suffering from cancer for the past 6 years.
Yeah.
And we didn't know. He, quietly he dealt with this disease. We don't know what kind of cancer, but that makes me so sad because he is and was so beloved. Like, if only he had gotten to experience like the outpouring of love, I'm sure he would have gotten. But maybe he wanted everyone to remember him for happy times, right?
Exactly. I mean, that was clearly a conscious choice on his part. And so, I think we just have to respect that. And
sure.
I'm sure he knew what the pros and cons on both sides were, but this was how he opted to address it.
Yes. Pee-wee's Big Adventure is a movie that I still quote all the time.
Oh, constantly.
All the time. And then when Nick was little and he was still in elementary school, I was in charge of all of our like movie night fundraisers. And the first one I showed them was Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and kids and adults alike just loved it. And that was a great thing to do. So I'm very, very sad about that. Also, while we were away, Sinead OConnor died.
Yes.
She was 56, a very complicated legacy, an incredible artist, but also, was right about some stuff that she got like pilloried for, the whole thing with the Pope and the picture on SNL, and like, it's just really sad that was the thing that became what her career was known for, given what a tremendous artist she was.
Yeah. It's funny. The people who bitch about cancel culture never want to talk about Sinead OConnor or the Dixie Chicks, who actually kind of put themselves on the line to really speak truth to power and then paid the consequences for it. But yeah, she was an incredible musician. She did later in life convert to Islam, changed her name to Shuada Sadakat, but she continued to perform and record under the name Sinead OConnor. And yeah, a complicated life and often a tragic one. But I know she is fondly remembered by many people who appreciated her musical genius.
So many great songs from the 80s. I mean, Nothing Compares to You is, of course, the famous one, but like Mandinka, the whole first album is great. And just, a singular talent, right? Like
Definitely.
No one sounded like her.
No, for sure.
So that is sad. She was 56. We don't know what the cause of death was. There's going to be an autopsy for her. And then just yesterday, we learned about Angus Cloud, who was on Euphoria. He was only 25. This is very, very sad.
Yeah.
He apparently had been suffering deep depression after the death of his father, who they had just buried, and had been talking about suicide. We don't know exactly what happened with him, but it looks like something like that. I haven't ever watched Euphoria, but great outpouring for him.
Yeah, I've only seen a couple of episodes, but just in those episodes, like, he makes an impression. So I mean, it is a tragic loss.
For sure. And the fact that I don't think he even sought this life out. From what I understand, he was just discovered in New York and had this look, and did some modeling as well. So that is very sad. Only 25 years old. Very, very sad. And then real quickly, Randy Meisner from the Eagles, an original Eagles member, he was 77. He is the one who sings lead on Take It to the Limit. So he had a great range. So that happened while I was gone as well.
One of the founding members.
Yes. Box office. Okay, so have you Barbenheimed? In what order did you Barbenheim? Everyone's doing it. I did Barbie, Oppenheimer, Barbie.
I did too, actually. Yeah, I did Barbie, Oppenheimer, Barbie.
Not in the same day, like scattered over the course of about a week or so. But
Yes,
that's the order I did them in. But both movies continue to break all kinds of records. It's been so exciting. Even if you go to the theater for something else, like I went to a sneak of the new Ninja Turtles on Saturday, and it was absolutely packed and everyone's dressed in pink. So this revival is very exciting. Barbie has now made $774 million worldwide.
Wow.
And Oppenheimer has made $400 million worldwide. It is already Nolan's biggest hit.
Wow. Yeah, and they're breaking all kinds of records. It's, the biggest opening weekend box office gross from a woman director. Like Oppenheimer is the highest grossing, like second place film apparently in at least the first weekend. Yeah, and it is this kind of thing that I don't know that anybody could have orchestrated it, but these completely sort of diametrically opposed in so many ways films have kind of like lifted each other's boat in a way that I'm sure now people will be desperate to try and recreate, and we'll see if anybody ever pulls it off.
Yeah, I think many months ago when we were looking down the road at the calendar and we saw July 21st was going to have Barbie and Oppenheimer, they looked like they were, alternative programming to each other, that they would like split the audience. But it's been so exciting to see that people want to do both.
Yeah.
And, there are many think pieces out there. Many college film students will do pieces on like how both are visions of mid-century America and their hopes and dreams and fears.
Sure. That DNA exists. Just connect those dots, baby.
That's coming. Yeah. So that's been very exciting. But then like the flip side of that is that the new Mission Impossible is not doing that well.
It is not, and I think that, I'm already seeing people talking about how Paramount was hell-bent and determined that it open in the summer of 2023, and that maybe that was not the greatest idea, that they could have maybe had some flexibility there and sort of gotten a sense for what else was coming out. But I think they were emboldened by Top Gun Maverick and thinking, aha, Tom Cruise sequel in the summer, we got this, and maybe not.
He can only save cinema so many times.
Exactly. Cut the guy.
Right. Margot Robbie's got to step in and save cinema too. in her high heels. She chose the heels, the Birkenstocks, whatever shoes she's wearing.
Right.
She will do it. We're still having strikes going on here in LA and in New York and everywhere where there are writers and actors. They're all on strike. We were in New York for a few days in July, and it was like the first day of the SAG strike, and they were all out there at 30 Rock, and it's a lot of repercussions are going on. So the writer strike has been 3 months at this point, right?
Yeah,
and the SAG strike has been a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks,
something like that. Yeah,
just about. And so what we're seeing now is that a lot of movies and the Emmy ceremony are all getting pushed down the road.
Right.
And so the Emmys were supposed to have been September 18th. Those have been delayed indefinitely, but maybe January. Among the big movies that have been pushed are Beyond the Spider-Verse, which wasn't even supposed to come out until next March. Kraven the Hunter was supposed to have been October, I want to say, and that has been pushed. And then also, besides the big stuff, also some like buzzed about art house stuff like Yorgos Lanthimos's Poor Things, starring Emma Stone, and then also Challengers, the new Luca Guadagnino film starring Zendaya. So those have been pushed from what would have been like their fall prestige times.
Right. Well, I mean, Challengers was originally going to be the opening night of the Venice Film Festival, and then they pulled it because I think now they're looking at 2024. Poor Things got pushed from September to December, but they are still hanging on to their Venice slot, even though none of the stars can be there to promote it. And I get it. There are so many of these kind of movies that really rely upon movie stars on the red carpet, movie stars on the talk shows, especially the Oscar buzz movies that are designed to like launch at Toronto or Venice or Telluride, and then, do the New York Festival and do these different kind of events throughout the year. And with that off the table, it makes these movies harder to market in terms of finding an audience and harder to market in terms of getting them to awards voters. So, it's a pity because obviously the Barbenheimer phenomenon is showing that people are really dying to go back into movies and dying to be excited about the premise of movies and the whole, everything that comes with, a cinematic release. But studios are now kind of hedging their bets with the strikes happening. And of course, it's the studios that are making the strikes happen. So, get it together, AMPTP, and stop trying to blame it on the people that you're underpaying.
Right. Yeah. It's weird because we are heading into fall festival season, right? You're going to Venice soon. And as you mentioned, there's Telluride coming and Toronto coming. And I guess it will be weird to not have all the, starry red carpets and all that, all the Q&As afterward.
I mean, Bradley Cooper just announced that he's not going to Venice to promote his Leonard Bernstein biopic, even though I guess as the director, he could still technically work the carpet because he's a DGA member and they're not striking, but in honor of SAG, he's opted not to do so.
Yeah, that would be a bad look, I think.
Yeah.
For him to cross that line. So we will definitely always keep watching all of this for you, but it is not looking good. It's not looking like any finality, any resolution is in sight anytime soon.
I want to throw this out, though. Be mindful
please.
when you read media coverage that talks about how this is all the fault of the strikers. The caterers and the publicists are out of work because of the strikers. No. The caterers and the publicists are out of work because of the AMPTP, because of the greedy guys who are not paying their artists what they're due, or not paying them for their labor. That's fight the real enemy.
Right. This didn't have to be this way, for sure. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. The final season of Disenchantment on Netflix is coming. That comes out September 1st, all 10 episodes. This is the Matt Groening medieval comedy series. Nick loves it. We watch it all the time. It's very, very good. And then the trailer for Loki season 2 has just come out.
Wow. Time slipping. Wait, you know that? Yeah. You've seen that? Yeah. Can you fix that? No.
And that comes out October 6th. And that looks pretty great. And then I'd forgotten that Jonathan Majors is in it. When he shows up, I'm like, he's king. But also Ke Huy Quan is in it. So that will be a lot of fun. It looks great. I love Loki season 1. It's one of our favorites, I think, among all the Marvel series. Sure. We are, of course, recapping Secret Invasion, the last 2 episodes on our Patreon today. But Loki season 2 looks great. What do they do about Jonathan Majors?